Yesterday was bizarre. I got to tell you guys, I don't know if there has been any time in my career where I have seen anything like this. Came with you? No?
I mean, I've been around a while. Haven't seen anything like this.
I have never seen such a massive fail like this from a politician before. Or a government leader. Let's just put the whole politician thing aside. A government leader. I'm just stunned. And not just that, the entire administration's response to so many things here. I mean, we're just, I'm trying to parse this out as to how we're going to hit it. Now, there's several things. The first thing is that the ABC interview that Biden had with George Stephanopoulos was it was a train wreck. And I'm going back and forth on what I think, if I think George Stephanopoulos was attempting to help rehabilitate him or not. I think ABC producers were, because they haven't released the full thing of the full interview. And the way it was edited, I mean, I would love to see the raw interview, because if it was this awkward with the editing, can you guys imagine what it was like? Really, I know. I could hear you all go, oh. So I was reading the transcript, and the transcript is crazy too. I mean, it's just as crazy. But I wanted to see the full, because when they aired it in GMA this morning, they would do it in chunks. Like, oh, now we're going to go back to this. It was interesting to me that they didn't air it like as a primetime special in the evening, right? To me, that was incredibly interesting that the way that they chose to air it like this. So, a million different thoughts on this, but we're going to go over some of this interview because I think it's incredibly telling. We've spent about 20 years in Afghanistan, 20 years in Afghanistan, and I think that enough time and treasure has been spent there that we are deserving of some answers. And this wasn't it. I mean, he contradicted himself. And then the other thing too is Joe Biden, and I hope that you all caught this, he was saying in the interview that, as you just heard him, like there's this idea that we could have gotten out without chaos or anything else. It's just, it's just not possible. He was contradicting himself with a number yesterday from the day before. So did Millie, by the way. And that was 7 that we played coming in, yes? Yes. By the way, the idea for him to say that that they could not have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. Well, I know how that happens. I mean, I know how you get out without chaos ensuing. Here's an idea. First and foremost, you keep Bagram Air Force Base open. I thought Jack Carr, when he was on the program, he had a great answer to it. Keep Bagram open, and then in the meantime, you drop some spec ops in there, and they can screw around with Taliban. You provide them with a little bit of air cover, and then you start quietly organizing and situating all of the visas and everything else, getting everybody's paperwork together, and you start taking people out in groups while announcing a withdrawal date that's pretty far into the future, but it's going to be far enough to have everybody withdrawn and all your stuff out of there by the time, very surreptitiously, by the time, way before that date arrives and before the Taliban knows it. There's a million things he could have done. I mean, at the bare minimum, he could have not have closed Bagram Air Force Base. And I really don't buy General Milley's response to this in the press conference yesterday, because he was asked, well, why did you, and I think it was Catherine Herridge, or not Catherine Herridge, I think it was one of the female reporters with Fox who had asked him, why is it that Bagram Air Force Base was closed? The airbase was closed before everyone was able to get evacuated. And I just really did not buy Milley's response, because he was discussing how difficult it was to secure it and provide protection. And I'm thinking, well, don't you think it would have been a hell of a lot easier? And I wish this would have been the follow-up. Don't you think it would have been a hell of a lot easier to, instead of now having 7,000 troops over there, if you had the residual 2,500 force and maybe sent an extra 1,000 over if needed, to make sure that airfield was secured before shutting everything down and allowing all this equipment to fall into Taliban hands? Don't you think that would have been maybe, I mean, there's like a million different things here.